I was browsing Twitter today, which is a couple days ago from when you're seeing this video, but I was browsing Twitter today, and I came across a lovely Twitter moment. I'm sure you've seen some videos about this already on YouTube. If not, that would be amazing. The Simpsons addresses controversy over APU. Oh yes. Many viewers are disappointed with the way The Simpsons address the issue of APU's character and claims of negative race stereotypes in its latest episode. So basically, for those who are not aware of what happened, there was a documentary released a while ago called The Problem with APU, in which Hari Kondabolu, I hope I said that right, I tried my best, examines the character of APU on The Simpsons and the implications thereof and therein and whatnot. Also, just a quick little note, while I was editing this video, I wasn't sure whether to put an apostrophe here or where to put it or whatnot. I literally have no idea. So I Googled it. The lovely singular possessive ending in S, all right? Because The Simpsons is a singular possessive noun. Even though it ends in an S, you're not referring to the individual members of The Simpsons while talking about The Simpsons, unless you are talking about them. But in this case, we're talking about The Simpsons response. So the TV show is a singular possessive noun. And what you do in APA format is you do add an apostrophe S, even if it ends in S, if it's singular possessive. So literally all of these lovely articles are getting it wrong. The Simpsons apostrophe, The Simpsons apostrophe. The conservative defense of APU is even worse than the one that The Simpsons, no apostrophe at all. This is where you're getting your news from. Fun fact. Let's do it the correct way. Simpsons apostrophe S response. You do the same thing if you're talking about Futurama's response. Futurama apostrophe S response. Singular possessive, that's how it works even if it ends in S, because we're not talking about the individual members grouped together of the Simpsons family. We're talking about the one TV show called The Simpsons. Fun fact. Even mainstream news can't get it right.
Something that started decades ago and was applauded and inoffensive is now politically incorrect. What can you do?
Some things will be dealt with at a later date.
If at all.
I think it's a great response from The Simpsons. This show has been running for a long time, since the 90s. How long has The Simpsons been running? The Simpsons. I freaking hate The Simpsons, for the record, by the way. I think the show is not even funny at all. I think it's stupid. Futurama's way better. It looks like it's been around since 1989, which is absolutely insane. That's almost 30 years. It's been on the air for almost 30 years. And it's just now that people have a problem. Just now. Not the 30 years before, but now, just now. Not the show that families of all types, of all races, have loved for decades. Not earlier, they didn't have a problem earlier, but now, all right. That's what The Simpsons is trying to say. The show has been around for forever, and just now, there's controversy, because that's just the political climate that we're in. I don't usually like to talk about politics. This is a little bit of a different case, though, because politics has been created out of nothing. It's not like most of the time where politics is created out of politics, you know. This is literally politics and getting angry about something out of literally nothing. Let's hear what these news reporters have to say on ET Canada, which is a YouTube channel. It's not even a news channel. The only people on YouTube talking about this right now is ET Canada, a channel with a hidden subscriber count. 65 million views, though, since 2011. That's pretty interesting. This video has 328 views and an overwhelming amount of dislikes compared to likes. Let's see what they have to say.
If at all.
Oof, yeah, and also don't have a cowman written on the picture, right?
Not great.
Listen, I mean, the Simpsons has had brilliant writing over the years. I don't think that this was brilliant writing.
No.
Even if they
don't have a cow, and here they are having a cow. Yeah.
What a lot of people had a hard time with was that the explanation was going to happen and they were going to try and justify it or change it or do whatever they did. And they had a lot of different ways they could have done that. But people are taking real offense to the fact that they gave this scene to Lisa. Right. Because Lisa is the one who always champions the underdog. Lisa is the sort of moral compass of the show. And to put those words in Lisa's mouth hurt even more.
Right. Yeah.
So basically, what they're saying is this. Apu, the character who acts like a stereotypical Indian shopkeeper, everyone's offended because of that, because he acts like his character is supposed to act based on how the show has been running for 30 years. But then when you have Lisa say something that Lisa normally wouldn't say, they get mad because Lisa's not acting the way that Lisa has acted for 30 years, but they are mad that Apu is acting the way that Apu has acted for 30 years. I just don't understand. Do people not realize that The Simpsons is just a big giant joke? Every single character in The Simpsons is a stereotype. Apu is a stereotype of an Indian shopkeeper. Homer is a stereotype of an American dad. Marge is the American wife. Bart is your average teenage boy. Lisa, your average teenage girl. They're all stereotypes, every single one of them. So I'm not really quite sure what the problem is. What's farther from reality? Apu, the way Apu acts versus the way an actual Indian shopkeeper in America would act, or the way Homer acts compared to the way a typical American dad would act. Which is farther from the truth? I'd say that Homer's character is much more offensive, going by that standard. Let's take a look at some other lovely coverage of this documentary. There's no coverage of The Simpsons response, but there is coverage of this lovely documentary. Let's take a look, shall we? The Washington Post. Look at that like to dislike ratio. Washington Post, 38,000 views. Okay, let's take a look.
Hari Kondabolu is a comedian, writer, filmmaker, and Simpsons fan, but he has one big problem with the show.
Apu, a cartoon character voiced by Hank Azaria, a white guy.
Wow! It's almost as if voice actors are voice actors. They act with their voice. What does acting mean? It means existing in a way that is not how you normally do. What the heck, dude? Who would have thought? So let's take a look here. Take a look and watch with me, shall we?
Cabby, deli.
Wow, they look so oppressed. They're legally allowed to laugh and have a good time? Wow, that's insane. They're allowed to hop on this platform of the Washington Post and give their opinion regardless of their race? Wow, it's almost as if they're not oppressed. This guy makes a living as a comedian? Wow, pretty crazy how oppressed this person must be. All these people working at grocery stores can't afford their rent, you know? They're not oppressed, but he is. You know, working as a comedian. How can you stand on a stage in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, giving your opinion on whatever you want and having the audience laugh at it because it's told in a comedic way? Laughing is like they're agreeing with it, you know? They're not laughing at it. You know what I mean? They're laughing in agreement. That's what it... How can you say after doing that you don't have a voice? Because you're literally put on a pedestal in front of everyone on stage. You're a comedian. You're in front of people every night. That's your job. You make a living doing something that people would kill to do.
How many of you had to deal with being called a poo or that being referenced?
Oh my God. I was called a poo. Oh geez. My life is over. If that's the worst thing that happens to you in your life, you have a life that is better than like 99.9 repeating % of everyone on Earth. If the worst problem you have is being called a poo, don't act like a poo. Not APU, but A and then a separate word, POO. Don't act like a poo. A piece of poop. Don't act like a piece of poop.
Jeez. There she is, the world's first convenience store.
Ah, there we go. There we go. Nothing is sacred.
On everything we do.
God forbid that we're not subservient in India. Okay.
Wow! It's almost as if they're portraying a stereotype, because that's what The Simpsons is. I'm not a teenager anymore, but I was, and I could have said the same thing about Bart, you know? I have a dad who's an American dad. I could say that Homer's portrayal is very offensive because it's totally unlike reality, because it's a stereotype. They're all stereotypes. You can't have a show that's about making fun of everybody if there are people it's not okay to make fun about. You're making fun of everybody. In the famous words of IWWB, it's either all okay or none of it's okay. What would The Simpsons be without making fun of people? If you got rid of every single joke that would possibly offend someone, what would it be? What would it be? There wouldn't be a show. It wouldn't be anything. There would be no dialogue at all because it would all be taken out. The Simpsons is a show that makes fun of everyone. It makes fun of everyone. And the beauty in that is that it brings everyone together. We all experience being made fun of together. That's what makes The Simpsons so great. Comedy brings people together. Believe it or not, that's how it works. I always put my friends down as a joke. It's a joke, and they know that it's a joke. And it's funny. I always say mean things about my friends to their faces as a joke, because it's a joke. It's comedy. It's what makes us laugh, and it brings us closer together. That form, insulting my friends, makes me closer to my friends. You see how it works like that? Has the world just forgotten about, intent? Does intent matter? No one's intending to be offensive by writing The Simpsons. No one wants to offend anyone like that. Because if that were the case, they wouldn't write The Simpsons at all, because everyone would be offended. There's a character on The Simpsons that represents you, who you are. No matter who you are, no matter what race you are, no matter anything about you, there is a character on The Simpsons who represents you, and they make fun of you because they make fun of everybody. You see how ridiculous Homer is compared to your average American dad. What The Simpsons does is it portrays a very, very exaggerated form of the stereotype to kind of show through comedy how ridiculous the stereotypes are about everyone. It's ridiculous. It's not even accurate at all. None of the stereotypes are accurate because they're stereotypes, and stereotypes are never accurate. The Simpsons isn't setting out to be mean to anyone, not setting out to offend anyone. It's setting out to show how ridiculous society's stereotypes are. It's not trying to further the stereotype. It's trying to show you how ridiculous it is. Look at the like to dislike ratio on this video. Here's another one. How a Simpsons character pushed Indian stereotypes. The E.T. Canada video, like to dislike ratio. Another one from TMZ, like to dislike ratio. It's almost like the general public knows their position on this issue, on the issue of Apu in general. It's almost like the general public has a consensus, and that is they like Apu. It's almost as if the 1% of people who don't like Apu are throwing their voices out there. They're being the loud minority. These like to dislike ratios speak for themselves. Every single time BuzzFeed puts out a video about some stupid SJW issue, the like to dislike ratio always does the same thing. It's almost like the general public isn't being fooled. But why is all this still being promoted and still being fed to everyone? It makes no sense. Nobody's being fooled by anything. No one's being fooled by anything. I'm confused. If we just look up The Simpsons, okay? The Simpsons. We go to top. Look at this. Let's read some of these together. The professionally offended are out in force crying and moaning about Apu, however the hell you say his last name, in The Simpsons. Just shut up and enjoy the show or not. Stop making yourselves look like complete and utter weaklings. We will never see the problem with the Mexican bee guy on The Simpsons documentary because Hispanic people have real problems to worry about. If you're actually offended about Ali's character in The Simpsons, you don't deserve to live. Well, I think that would be Apu, but whatever. Every character is a stereotype. Homer is a stereotypical fat American. Marge is a stereotypical housewife. Bart is a stereotypical young boy. Lisa is a stereotypical young girl. There is no problem with Apu in The Simpsons. He's a multi-dimensional, well-fleshed-out character. If you look at him and all you see is convenience store owner with Indian accent, that's on you. Do you share the same problem for Italian mobster Fat Tony or groundskeeper Willie? People actually think the portrayal of Apu in The Simpsons is racist. It's an exaggerated comedic stereotype, like Homer as a fat, dumb American. This is not ones that I just picked and chose. It was literally, I typed in The Simpsons, clicked on top, and I scrolled past the moment and past the news. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 5 are all saying the same thing, that they're not offended by Apu. People think that jokes on a comedy TV show are going to affect the way people think of a certain race. If it was a documentary, that's one thing. This is a comedy TV show, that's been running for 30 years. And it's just now that people have a problem with it. The same thing, Roseanne had controversy recently. Just recently. What do you expect, Hari? You went after an iconic American show that was created by a bunch of liberals who are not your enemy. Actual acts of discrimination against minority groups should be what we're talking about. Apu, quite literally, inflicts harm on no one. Says the white guy standing in front of the American flag. So standing in front of the flag of the country that you live in is now bad. It's now a bad thing. Heaven forbid you were born in America, like the 325.7 million as of 2017 Americans. Don't you think it's possible that if you live in America, you might end up in a picture where the American flag is behind you? I mean, and what's really funny is, says the white guy, okay, so white people aren't allowed to talk about it, then why is it only white people talking about this issue on YouTube? The documentary was created by someone who's not white. Everyone who's talking about it is white. It's all the same. Whenever an issue this is a brand new thing, so it hasn't been covered by many people, E.T. Canada is really the only people who have talked about The Simpsons' response to it. So this isn't really necessarily accurate for what this situation is like, but past situations where something offensive has come about, you know, for the most part, it's white people talking about how offensive it is, you know? Being offended on behalf of someone else is the most ridiculous thing. It's the most ridiculous thing. What a terrible way to live through your life. Imagine a life where you can't sit down to watch an episode of the Simpsons and have a good laugh and unwind after a day of work. You can't even sit down, have a good laugh. It's like every single thing has to be analyzed to the fullest extent to find anything that might be offensive to someone. You're totally missing the point. It's a comedy TV show. The Simpsons going for an extremely lazy joke about PC culture is kind of sad, honestly. Shows how much the show's writing went to shit. Yeah, a joke about how a certain subset of culture, the PC culture, gets offended about everything, is now being offended about the joke that jokes about how offended they get about everything. You're proving their point. I mean, my God. Why the hell has South Park not had a controversy like this? They had a freaking race slider in their most recent game. It's like South Park is totally untouchable. What makes South Park different? Why is no one attacking South Park? South Park is the same as The Simpsons, except much more hilarious. It's actually funny, unlike The Simpsons. But South Park makes fun of everyone, just like The Simpsons does. Why is it only The Simpsons that gets touched? Why not South Park also? It's like people are only mad about things that are trending. It's when something becomes trending, that's when everyone's talking about it, but when everyone isn't talking about it, you actually enjoy the show, you know? It's like one of those things. I think the whole thing is incredibly stupid. I think it's incredibly stupid, and I wanted to talk about it, so I did. We'll see how this video does. Who the hell knows? If you liked it, give it a like. If you want to see more like this, give it a like. What did you think of the whole situation? What do you think of the video? Did you like it? Leave it in the comments down below. I wanted to try something new. So I thought, why not, while this topic is trending, jump on it, get that ad revenue, if this video is even monetized, so on and so forth. So tell me what you thought. Comment down below. Make sure you buy my merch. Link down below. You have until April 23rd to buy the merch or it goes away. Make sure you follow me on Twitch because I go live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Please follow me on Twitch. Please watch the streams. They're a lot of fun. And make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And a special lovely thank you to my patrons. Yes, yes, yes. Our lovely dollar patrons. Our lovely $5 patrons. Our lovely $10 patrons. Our lovely, what the hell is next? $50 patrons? And our lovely $100 patrons. Thank you all so much. If you'd like to join their ranks and become a patron today, all it takes is $1 per month. Literally, as little as that. That's $12 a year. All you have to do is choose one day out of all 365 days of the year to stay home from eating out and have a peanut butter sandwich for dinner instead. Take the money you would have spent on that restaurant and give it to my Patreon. And you've just supported my channel for an entire year. That's how easy it is. It's very simple. So please support me on Patreon if you like the content, and I hope you all had a nice day, and I hope you have a nice day still to come. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.